Welcome back everybody for the second edition of Surviving Corona while wanting to do HEMA. Today we're gonna still be looking at the footwork because that is something you need no kind of equipment for except just some space. And I think all of you have at least the 2 times 1 meter space. So this time again, we're going to start by looking at the stance, but instead of doing the same thing where we would check the stance going from our toes, knees, hips, back, we're going to directly jump into the exercise of how to go about finding your stance immediately. So the exercise is very simple. You start by standing just normally, and the first thing is that you stand normally as you were facing that way, then you turn your head and drop into your fencing stance. After you drop, you check, okay, I'm good, this might be better here, is my back straight, good. And then the other side. So this is not an exercise for when somebody immediately attacks you, you want to be ready. This is just for finding your stance as fast as you can. Do this a couple of times to get a feel for it, and then we move to the second part. The second part is simply doing a squat jump, and then as soon as you've landed, coming into a stance. So something like this. Then I look, okay, now I noticed immediately when I was landing I was a bit front heavy, so I got here, and then I retry. Now it's way better. You do those 10 times one side, 10 times other side, you get some slight cardio as well. And then we move on to the last part, which is we do a sprawl, or you can do like kind of going into a push-up position and then going into the stance. So simply, you start by standing in a normal standing position, then you do a sprawl, get up as fast as you can, and then you go into a fencing position. So either like that, pushing your hips to the ground, or then if that feels uncomfortable, you can simply do that. Be wary of moving to the stance as quickly as you can, but once you've gotten into the stance, check that it's good, and then when you do the second fix if there's something to fix. The first exercise is 3 front, 3 back. So simply just start from the beginning of your movement line, do 3 small steps forward, 3 backwards, like this. And here, unlike the other time or the last time, you're doing 3 in kind of one combo, bam, 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 bam. So it's not singular steps, but try to keep it so slow that you can accomplish a good step instead of hurrying and wobbling, but still moving fast enough to get an exercise. Do this 10 times on both sides, on both left leg forward, but also right leg forward. Then the second exercise is you move 2 forwards, 1 back, 2 forwards, turn, and then do the same thing. Simply put, it looks like this. 1, 2, back, 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, back, 1, 2, turn. Good. And try to, every time you stop, every time the combo stops, look at your stance, look how you're standing. If you're standing like this, or whatever, correct yourself. Do this 10 times each side. So, then on to the passing step. Today, the first exercise on the passing step is going to be very slow. So, simply just take your stance and try to move as slowly as you can doing a passing step. And once I get into the ending position of my passing step, I move backwards. Again, checking my stance in the beginning and the end. Good. The second one will be a bit quicker. So starting with a simple passing step, I step, then I switch, and then I go back. So it doesn't need to be that slow. It can be a movement combo that would be something you might want to think about in fencing. You might become a thing while you're free fencing or sparring. So relaxed, moving, bam, bam, bam. Try to keep your hips down, bam, bam, bam. Do this 10 times each side. Okay, then for lunges. We didn't do lunges last time, and I'm going to be explaining a few simple things about lunges, about my ideas on how to use lunges in longsword fencing. Simply, what the lunge is that we're in a fencing position and we step our front leg forward while our back leg stays put, usually used for attacking, like this. In a good basic lunge, you don't want to overextend, you want to keep your body upright, so you don't want to be in this kind of position. There are situations where you might want to throw caution to the wind and really explode into a lunge, but in longsword and in other HEMA things as well, you might not want to do it as often as in, let's say, sports fencing. We're going to start with a very simple exercise. You start with one of your legs. I pick my left leg, and you do 10 lunges. It's enough for it to be like 2 lengths of your foot. The lunge, it doesn't need to be longer than that. So simple, bam, bam. You go into the lunge, you come back. You do this, bam, 10 times each. Here it's super important that your knee and your toes face the same direction. This is a very good technique to injure your knee if you're not well suited, especially if you're doing it very quickly. You can create a lot of momentum into your knee if it's not well set on its place. So do this 10 times on the left, 10 times on the right. Then the second exercise. This is a bit different. We're going to start with you doing a tiny lunge. Then a bit longer. Then longer, 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 and then you can go as ridiculous as you can. Make sure that you can get back without swerving your body. So the lunge where we get here, like my maximum lunge is somewhere here, because I can still get back with using my front leg. If I lunge so far that I cannot get back here, it's not really worth training that much. At least for me. Thank you for watching and stay safe.